Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Leading Change. My name is Emma, and I have Courtney with me today, and we're going to be talking all about her infamous problematic cheat codes for your career and getting ahead. But before I get to all the questions that I've got for you, Courtney, can you give everybody an introduction?
Yeah, I'm Courtney. I'm a content creator. I help people build their personal brands and I help people with their career.
Well, thank you so much for joining me for the conversation. I've been following you both on LinkedIn and TikTok for some time, so I'm excited to have you here with me. And yeah, I teased that we were going to talk through the problematic cheat codes for your career that you have shared on, across all of your social media. But I think like the idea of problematic is like a strong term. And so I'd love to understand why you kind of framed them in that arena. And then how do you balance getting people to actually take the good advice that you're giving them while it's like kind of wrapped up in this controversial wrapper?
Yeah, the reason why I wrapped it up in this controversial wrapper is because I care about effectiveness and impact more than anything else. And I know that people are going to watch it and implement these cheat codes if, I'm using this strong label. And some things are problematic. Like my goal with this content is just to help level the playing field. These problematic career cheat codes are things that people who come from like wealthy families or people who their parents have been around the corporate world, they already innately understand it. They're already doing this. And I just deeply care about information equity and I think that we can create more equality that way. So I frame it up because I let the audience decide. Like these are things that people are doing. These are things that successful or people are doing. You can decide what level of problematic you want to implement or not. But either way, it's effective. It makes people watch it. And these are things that are actually happening that people are actually implementing. They just keep them quiet.
And I think that I mean, that's a perfect way of putting it. Like you can decide if you want to do these things or not, but they're happening in the world. So you might as well take advantage of it. So when we take a look, and you've done, I mean, I don't even know how many parts to the series there are now. I feel like I've seen, hundreds of your tips over the course of the time of following you. But if you had to pick 3 problematic cheat codes, what would your top 3 be to help people get ahead in their careers?
Yeah, first one would be learning to work loudly, like internally. So you need to learn to take on really visible projects, not just the projects that you're excited about, but projects that are visible through the whole organization and be really annoying about them. Like consistently check in on your progress, brag about the smallest win, just really make your work visible internally. So that would be the first thing. Second cheat code is make your work visible externally. So you got to build your personal brand. An easy way to start is just by like posting one time per week on LinkedIn. But again, you got to brag. You got to make sure that people are really seeing your wins, really seeing you as an expert, even if you're not an expert yet. So learn to work loudly internally, learn to work loudly externally and build your personal brand. And then the third one would be to learn how to market your skills and your experience. So this might be exaggerating a little bit on your resume or kind of, shifting what you did. Maybe if you worked in retail, you say that like maybe you were a bartender, you could say, I, managed sales and events for a hospitality group. That's not lying, but it is pulling out different parts of your job in order to seem more established. A lot of people do this with their salary too. You might say, maybe your last job was $60,000 salary, but you might say, yeah, my last job was 60 or my last job was 75,000. I'm really looking for an $80,000 job. So you want to work loudly internally. You want to build your personal brand externally, and then you want to learn to slightly alter and market your own expertise in a way that's advantageous to you and your career.
I think everybody who knows me knows that like specifically building your personal brand and working loudly like internally and externally is something I'm a big advocate of as well. But that last idea that you have, I think is really important for anybody that's trying to like find their way into a new industry too. So like I started as a teacher and then made my way into the corporate world. I had to get very good at explaining how those skills transfer. And to your point, phrasing things in a way that's not misleading, but helping show the expertise that you've gained, you have to sometimes help people walk that path with you. So I think that that's obviously one of the top three, but a really good call out to make too for people that might be trying to find more than just elevating, but getting into new and different career opportunities that they've had in the past. So before we wrap up together, I would love to hear now, obviously, you've been using these cheat codes. Your career is very well established and you have a large social media following. But I'd love to hear maybe a story that you have beyond your own success of customers or clients that you have that have used some of these cheat codes to really find their footing.
Mm-hmm. There are, oh my gosh, so many stories. But one that comes to mind is a message I actually got last week from somebody who, was making like $30,000, $40,000. And then they got their first six-figure job offer just by posting on LinkedIn one time per week. There is a billion users on LinkedIn and less than 1% of them post one time per week. So the bar is really low. So if you can just start posting one time per week, you're automatically going to rank in the top 1% of a billion people. And those are the billion people that are competing for the jobs you're applying for, competing for your opportunities. So that was really exciting to see. It really is that simple. So I really encourage you, post on LinkedIn. You never know what opportunities are going to come.
And now both Courtney and I are watching and making sure that you're doing it. So get out there and get started. Thank you so much for joining me for the conversation and for everybody for watching. If you haven't already, make sure you make your way over to all of the social media platforms, whether that's TikTok or LinkedIn, like I follow her on, or IG, and follow her for more of the career tips and problematic cheat codes. But thank you again, Courtney, for joining me, and have a wonderful day, everyone. Thanks for joining us for this episode of Leading Change. If you like what you saw, be sure to come back on a weekly basis and subscribe for more expert interviews focused on digital transformation, change management, and emerging technologies.